Hello, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Faithful Friday. What a time to be alive and well, and here to jump on and join you on another Faithful Friday. It was a good week, a week where it was not only a new week, it was a new month, it was a new quarter. We are officially in the third quarter of 2024. So, as I always say, if there's some things that you've been promising yourself that you want to do, that you need to start, the time is now. Time is of an essence. But again, it's a new quarter. We had a disconnect smack right dab in the middle of the week. I was grateful for that. Talk about just being grateful to get that break. Yesterday, I did a lot of relaxing, a lot of just flat out chilling. Didn't do much, just chilled. We're expecting a nice weekend ahead. I'm talking about mild temps, so it's not going to feel like an oven. Not sure if I'm going to need my neck fan. And if you're in a city like mine, it's summer mode, so there's so much to do. There's so much to do here in Indy on this weekend. This week for me, I had to stay disciplined emotionally. I cannot begin to explain how many times I felt a snap in my spirit. And I'm being taught a new way to deal with my emotions, not dealing with things the way that I had previously dealt with them. As our spirits start to mature, we are faced with, the same problem such as those that find themselves in, relocation mode. We have to learn a new language. We have to learn a new way of doing things, even a new way of thinking and responding, or else we will risk being able to succeed at certain things in our life, succeed at being able to manage our emotions. I have to declare every day that I will not return to my old ways. And I was reminded this week that I am on the cusp of renewed freedom and spiritual clarity. It's time to leave the past behind. And that even means in the manner of how things are done, how I respond to things, becoming the woman that God requires me to be. I have to navigate, new patterns, and those patterns have to line up with God's truth, as far as what the Bible instructs. Prioritizing my emotional health. Sometimes our emotional health can be down when we just have not had enough rest, and being someone that people can count on, getting myself to a place where people can count on me. They can count on me to be reliable. They can count on me to get the same person. Because a lot of times we're getting different versions of people based off of what they're experiencing in life. And I want to be whole so that I can be in good relationships with others. I want to sleep well at night, knowing that I gave the best of who I was for the day. And then I can, check myself when I find myself out of balance. This week I had to release my old mindset and thought processes so that I could embrace the new, that I'm not going to respond to that the way that I've always responded. I'm not going to react the way that I've always reacted. As I continue to grow, I realize that life is a package deal. Life is going to come with some fun parts, and life is going to come with some hard parts. And we've got to be ready for both. Nuggets were literally flying all over the place this week. They really were. And I was trying to catch them. And that's why I was trying to keep my emotions in check and stay out of my feelings. Because I'm reading a book right now. It's called You Got This. And I've talked about this book before. But it was all about believing in yourself. If you don't have an idea, if you don't have any idea of what you're doing, then guess what? You're in good company. A lot of us don't. Why? Because if you know what you're doing all the time, you're not taking any risk, which means that you won't make mistakes from which you can learn and develop your confidence. Because that's the goal. We want to develop confidence in some of the things that we're going through. If you feel like you're on shaky ground, you're challenging yourself. And you're testing the boundaries of your comfort zone, because a lot of times we like to stay in our comfort zones and we don't want to challenge ourselves. So if you find yourself on shaky ground, guess what? That's a good thing, because that means you're moving outside of the limits in which you feel comfortable. Sometimes it is better to underestimate your abilities than to overestimate them, as this means you will not be disappointed nor overly confident. And I really had to, take some time and think about that. A lot of times we walk into things confidently and we just think that we got it. And then, some curveballs can be thrown at us that are outside of our control. And we get very, very antsy. We get all over the place. And then we just sometimes give up on doing it all together. It's normal to feel like that you don't belong outside of your comfort zone. Remember always the learning zone. It's a good place to be. Why? Because good things can happen in the learning zone. The learning zone is actually what will stretch you. It will cause you to move outside of those things that you currently know and the way that you've always done them. As the week trudged forward, it was all about people and learning how, we deal with people and how they treat us. We train people on how to treat us. We really do. We get to verbalize what is and what's not acceptable in the context of our relationships. Remember, what we allow is going to continue. So that's why a lot of times for me, it is good to get out how I feel. I'm very big on communication. We have to retrain people in our lives. We have to retrain them by clearly stating what our intentions, our goals are, with them being graciously implemented. And we have to consistently keep those boundaries. And that's the key word right there. Consistency. That's what people are looking for. We can say a lot of things out of our mouths, but are we being consistent with the behavior? This all begins with knowing and living in the love of God, which makes us powerful because it sets us apart from self-doubt and it enables us to trust God to do great things through and for us. You want to be in good relationships. So being in good relationships sometimes does require that we have boundaries. We have to learn to be at peace with ourselves also, guys. We have to learn to be at peace. And pursuing peace is we have to do whatever it takes to maintain peace in our lives. It means that we're not going to always get our way. It means that we're not always going to have the last word in an argument. It requires us to trust God with the people in our lives instead of trying to force people to be what we want them to be. That's a form of control. And as we get older, we don't want to be in any relationships where we feel as though we're being controlled. People just don't want to be controlled. They want to love you in the way they want you to love them as they are. So we have to receive God's forgiveness. That's one of our peacemakers. When we sin, the best way that we can respond is just by repenting, because none of us are perfect. We have to make the decision to like ourselves. What type of relationship do you have with yourself? You can't get along with anyone else until you learn to get along with you, until you learn to like you, until you learn to like spending time in your own company. Don't compare yourself to others. I think we've been talking about that for weeks, just comparing ourselves, whether we're comparing ourselves by looking at social media or the people that we're around, lining ourselves up to see if we're at where they're at. Comparing and competing with other people puts us on a fast track to losing our peace and joy because we feel like what we have is not enough. And that's not good. We also have to accept other people just the way they are, not the way that we want them to be. Usually when people are miserable, they resent those that are joyful. That's why I always say, let your light shine. I don't care how anybody feels about it. Let it shine. We all have areas in which we truly need to change, but only God can change us. The best gift that we can give to others is just to pray for them and accept them as they are. And if it's too much for us, then we have to just learn to separate ourselves. We really do. It was a good week, y'all. When I say it was a good week, it really was a good week. It is officially the disconnect for most. It is the disconnect for me right now because I decided to extend my disconnect on yesterday and I feel good about it. We work on these jobs. We get PTO. Use it. We done seen enough memes of what's going to happen if we fall out, pass out, and go on to be with the Lord, and we're not using our time. We will be replaced quickly. So learn to disconnect and enjoy your time. Again, this was a week that was full of rest and recovery, time well spent, time to get ahead. That's what I did. Hopefully you were able to enjoy your week, the way the week started off, the week you're able to just look back on it and reflect and just see how far God has brought you from. I just pray that the disconnect continues in peace for all. Get out and do something that your future self will thank you for. Don't forget to let your light shine. I don't care how anybody feels about it. Because your transparency is leading to so many others being transformed. If you're looking for the guys, we will be at Garfield Park Farmers Market tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Come get sauce. We always have barbecue treats. Yeah, after that, we're just going to rest. Um, for me, I wanted to spotlight my shirt today. It says, God don't play about me. I like this shirt. I picked this shirt up last week at the Indianapolis Black Expo. It was a nice time, y'all. If you didn't get a chance to go out, come out next year. There was some phenomenal vendors there. And my husband just let me run around and shop. He was like, you want it? Get it. Because he knows how much I love to support other entrepreneurs and most importantly, supporting Black businesses. I do a lot of shopping. I buy a lot of things online. So when it comes to supporting those that look like me, that hustle like us, I feel good about it because hopefully I'm able to make someone's day and being able to support them as well. But again, it's the disconnect. Do something your future self will thank you for. I will be back on next week. But until then, I will see you soon.